Alright guys, welcome back to another video. We're here in GIMP doing a bit of a speed paint here with commentary. Just basically going to be walking you guys through everything that we're doing. So right now this is in 5 times speed. This scheme here that we are making is actually for career mode, believe it or not. We'll reveal whose car it is later on, and actually in a couple of minutes we'll reveal whose it is, but right now I'm just trying to get the context to fit to the template and saving it later on so I don't have to mess around with it. But as you can see here, we're going to be making a Rev Racing car, just making a Terex Corporation. So I just kind of looked up a random company, and they had a cool logo, so it's like, you know what, we'll go ahead and use that. So go ahead, get the coloring right for the number. We'll go ahead and throw it in here. Just trying to keep everything organized. We got sponsors designs. I like to keep my stuff in folders so I can kind of like more easily find. I don't know what the right word for that would be. But now we're continuing to mess with the context here. They were a little off, and so just had to fix those quick. Doesn't take a whole lot of time. And then disabled the Goodyear logo. So just making sure everything's good in the car viewer. Now we're going to readjust the number, make it a little bit bigger, and it's all fine and dandy. Now we're going to go ahead, throw on the hood sponsor, and then this is about when I noticed that guideline is not 100% centered. And it seems like it was more centered for the deck lid, and you'll see why. I think that in like, I don't know, 7 minutes or so, roughly, give or take. So anyways, going ahead, just throwing on logos right now. Gainbridge is obviously a pretty big partner with Rev Racing and all of their teams and stuff, because they sponsor Nick Sanchez right now in the Real World Truck Series. They have actually some pretty cool paint schemes. So I didn't really have any like big ideas going into this. I was just kind of like decided, you know what, hey, let's make a paint scheme. So here we are making a Nick Sanchez car. Nope, not Nick Sanchez. Sorry. Sanchez is not driving this car. I forgot. We'll tell you later, but I just start making design, just trying to go with whatever I can here. And this is honestly the first design that really just popped into my head, and just writing down how thick I made that black border so I don't forget for later on. Now this rear part I did a couple of times here. This first time I was like, that doesn't really look right, and then I did this and ended up what I was settled on. So sometimes it takes me more tries to get a base design made and done, but most of the time it surrounds the number. So I just continuing to adjust it because I felt like it was a little close on the bottom left corner, throwing the context back on, making sure everything's good. Now we're going to start kind of mirroring everything over to the other side, and in 3 minutes time, this is probably about 20 or so minutes of work here alone. So just keep that in mind. This took a good amount of time, probably not even 20 minutes, probably like closer to 10 to 15. Throwing on the rest of the sponsors now, recoloring that because it's not the right color, not the same as the hood logo at least. And now we're going to reveal the driver. This is Sean Core's car. He's back with Chevy since he was last at GI. He might still be at Chevy, I can't really remember. But the name rails always give me a lot of pain, to say the least. They're a big pain in the butt. Still trying to get it down here. I think it took me at least like 7 or 8 tries to like get it to where it looked good. Yeah, there we go. Finally settle on how it looked, and we got it to flip, mirror, or whatever you want to call it. And we called it a good day. Now here I'm just trying to find some more contingency / associate sponsors. So we're kind of scrolling through for about 5 minutes or so. Now, the original plan was to put a UTI logo on the quarter panel. It's like, well, that's not really going to work. So we can just kind of put that up a little bit. If it'll let me crop to image, which it wouldn't do, crop to content wouldn't work for some reason. Don't know why, but I just ended up putting it up there, and it worked great. So on to finding more. So I just like, oh wait, Max Eagle, we can put that on the quarter panel, and it fit perfectly. I didn't even have to resize it or anything, and it really did just make my life a whole lot easier. Now we're moving on to the front bumper sort of thing. This is why I wrote down the size of the black marking. so I can remember how big it was for this part, and just a little bit of adjusting to get this going. Looks lined up there, but as you can see, kind of see it. I know it's moving fast, but in the rear, and not the rear, but in the wheel well there, it's kind of like clipping weirdly. So here I am trying to adjust it as best I can. You can't really see because of how fast it's going, but I'm just trying to make it as smooth looking as possible here. And finally I get it after a couple of tries. Now we're just trying to get a guideline right down the center of the hood so we can just easily flip, mirror, boom, done. Just like that. Most of the base is pretty much done, and then I decide to do a different number for the roof. I don't know why, I just kind of impulsively decided to do this, but in the grand scheme of things, I honestly like this version of the number that we did instead. So just kind of size it up as best as I can, and then I skew it how it is here, make it a little bit bigger, match the size, and then we make the roof black as I had originally planned to do so. I tried to paint bucket it a couple times, it didn't work, so I just ended up scribbling it in with the pencil tool, or whatever you want to call it. So there's that done. Roof looks really cool with the black. Now we're just throwing on the final details of the actual paint scheme. Roof camera red, everything here red. Shark fins, roof rails, splitter, all went red. Roll bars as well. So now just closing everything up, getting ready to export it to a TGA, get it ready to be rendered. And we'll load up my render scene that I have already set up. And I don't have the Chevrolet body, like actually, like in this scene. I only have the Dodge and a couple of Cup and Xfinity, and I think one truck in here. So actually I had to throw this in here quick and throw in all the textures for everything. This kind of took a little while. And a little tip for the window here, you see me mess with it now, set it to alpha hashed. You can change the alpha and make it kind of transparent. It looks kind of cool, so I was able to do that, make it look nice and pretty. And then I had to go in and remove everything here so it won't like clip weirdly in the render scene. So this took about, I don't know, 5 minutes alone, just trying to get this part of it done. And I was able to make pretty quick work of it. Some of the other ones, like the Dodge that I did for previous renders for NR Career Mode, that took like 15-20 minutes. But this one, luckily it wasn't that bad. So like I said, pretty quickly I was able to take care of this one. And in about 5 seconds here, your time, just make sure there wasn't anything else around. But in about 5 seconds here, we have already gotten it pretty much all gone. A little strip left there, and they're gone. Now it's time to throw the thing into, actually just making a couple more adjustments. I ended up undoing this later when I made the actual render for the thingy, moving it up a little bit more. And here is the almost the final render here, once it loads, that is. But there it is. So that's all there is to it. If you did enjoy this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.